Hello everyone, my name is Nidhi Nagabhatla and I'm very happy to talk to you today. I work for the United Nations University in Belgium and I'm also associated with San Mary's University in Bolivia. And let's take the opportunity to talk a little bit about circularity for sustainability. In that context, let me share my screen. So I will give you a very brief overview of circular economy and sustainable development goals implementation, understanding interlinkages for transformative change within the context of the SDGs that you see on the screen, SDG 12, 13, 16, and 17, but also SDG 6 on water. And why is this a good time to talk about it? As recently we saw one of the reports from the UN talking about unlocking circular economy finance in Latin America and the Caribbean region as a catalyst for positive change. So also for you to look at this report, the key points that I will discuss is how circular economy is fitting with the achieving of SDG 6 in particular, how circular economy discourse is contributing to creating sustainable and resilient systems, effective integration of circularity into water strategies, and collective action as a part of their strategies, how innovations and advances in circular economy is benefiting water management. The other key areas like renewable energy, urban and regional planning, and also role of business in adoption of this integrated approach. Of course, a little bit on challenges as well, where policy and regulatory frameworks are required to support circularity, as well as innovative business models should be put in place. We also maybe touch upon a little bit upon consumer behavior change and how collaboration between stakeholders can only make this concept take more of a practical use. The Sustainable Development Goals Report 2022 emphasized on various SDGs and track their progress. Talking about SDG 12 in particular, you see the SDG 12 on responsible consumption and production talks about various resource efficiencies, also including water efficiency in the consumption and production spectrum. And you can see how the different countries are performing in comparison to the global average in the bar chart down, where Latin America and Caribbean is just it's kind of sort of in terms of proportion of food loss after harvesting, and below reaching retail markets. You can see one of these indicators, how different countries and different regions have been performing, including Latin America and the Caribbean. Circularity, circular economy is a fairly new concept. In 2011, Ellen MacArthur Foundation talked about described it as economic system of closed loops with focus on renewable energy systems thinking. Within 2 years, and there is a YouTube video about it. I'll share the slides so you can have a look. Within 2 years, in 2013, the definition also started incorporating terms like restorative and regenerative systems, superior design, and the life, and to also focus on business models. So fairly in this short span of time, the concept and definition and the framework was evolving fast. The connection with sustainable development goals were also drawn. For example, there is a direct connection between circular economy guiding principles and targets like 6.3.1 on proportion of wastewater treated safely, and also on others related to water quality. But this is just to give you an example how different concepts and interlinkages between circularity and sustainable development goals can be drawn. And the emerging scholarship on the concept is also good to note, whereas wherein closed cycles renewable energy system thinking is pretty dominant in that scholarship. But also recently you'll see social inclusiveness is a part of that discussion. Um, about uh, about the need for circular economy as a concept that can help accelerate sustainability. There are data points, there are enough information that triggers us to think that circularity can be of use, because we're taking too much, we're wasting too much, and we are emitting too much. So all these challenges that we are faced as humanity, could circularity provide some solution? Let's discuss how it is being adopted and adapted by different regions. For example, the Arab region, Water Vision, has also taken note of circular economy and is making a direct connection between water, sustainable water management and integration of circularity. And changing waste for the media, like this media screenshot from the Star also talks about changing waste for good. So there is a media penetration of this discourse through media, but also through academic literature. Mm, at the global scale, if you see the regions in red, they are pretty low in terms of their proportion of wastewater treated safely, they only less than 50%. And there could be some synergies where circularity can help boost these numbers. So that's again a direct connection with the SDG 6.3.1 indicator. The distribution across the world in different regions shows, of course, some regions are well ahead compared to others, and other regions are catching up. For example, North Africa and Western Asia, Latin America and the Caribbean, there, as the concept is being integrated and tested into different sectors, there is a sharp increase in adoption of circularity. And let's also take a look at the market landscape of circularity. The market share is projected to increase by 2027 at the growth rate of 7.8%. In terms of the sectoral integration, there are sectors by waste type: food waste, glass waste, plastic waste; by end user in construction, furniture, logistics, and also by region. So as we saw on the other slide, importantly, you can also notice that big corporations like Adidas, IKEA, Nestle are also taking note of it, trying to integrate in their operation systems, but we are yet to see the impact of this integration. And specifically in the water management sector, some of the key points that can be that should be considered is resource recovery, efficiency of that process in terms of cost benefit analysis, innovations, both in financing but also in technology, how they can support the transition, and how integration of circularity in the water sector can happen at different levels of water use, at the municipal level, at the agriculture level, and so on. So some of the key dimensions that we outlined in one of our recent papers is about foresight planning, developing wastewater initiatives as a part of the larger basin framework, realizing the wastewater value, which remains as an overarching point in realizing in integration, innovation, embracing the innovations through financial support, and also supporting business models that are doing that, and of course policy support systems as an overarching instrument. There are other there are frameworks that have been put in place by scholars, like the PESTEL framework by some of the scholars, talking about political, economic, social, technological, and environmental barriers, but also points that can help facilitate the transition. The framework is available for you to adopt or to refer as you see fitting. Another document that I can discuss is the circular economy and sustainability work that we conducted at UNU, which took note of novel approaches linking circular economy to environmental engineering and management, like constructed wetlands, the production and consumption cycles at different levels, micro to macro, and how to bring these principles to practice. So a collection of case studies by the authors. And also that taking into account how economic market share is distributed, as we discussed earlier. Taking note of how United Nations agencies is supporting this circularity to sustainability acceleration. The 4 key steps are user to user, user to business, business to business, and building upon the value retention loops. In terms of design, it's traversing beyond reuse and recycling to refurbishing, remanufacturing, repurposing, reducing the use of resources by design. And I think from a water sector perspective, some of these principles may apply directly and some may apply indirectly in terms of infrastructure or direct consumption. So this is mostly a guiding framework that can be adopted by a municipality, by a country, or by regions to their context, to their own setting. The World Economic Forum, for example, has adopted circularity in discussion with climate change by building in context of building climate coalitions, sustainable land use, the social cost of carbon, investing in climate action, transitioning to green energy, and implementation of the Paris Agreement. So a lot of synergies between climate change and circularity is discussed by the World Economic Forum. The World Business Council for Sustainable Development has taken an approach by collating water circularity metrics and a guiding tool. And let's look at also the set of indicators that they have presented to understand water circularity in terms of circular water inflow and outflow systems, and how companies and businesses can use this monitoring framework to demonstrate how they are integrating circularity. Another important thing that I would like to share is the Global Alliance on Circular Economy and Resource Efficiency that is supported by UNEP and UNIDO, along with the larger support from European Commission, that has brought together countries from Global North and Global South, emerging and developing economies and emerging economies. As you see on the screen, Peru and Chile as part of Latin American coalition, bringing together countries and economies to discuss best practices, to provide a platform for accelerating circular economy, to also conduct World Circular Economy forums. And I think this is a good initiative to exchange of best practices, transfer of technology, and the action plan that comes with it is a part of the European Green Deal. But the action plan also provides some guiding framework or standards of practice for other countries to use and adapt to their own setting. For example, the implementation framework that is a part of the action plan launches a set of different indicators, set of different targets that with a time frame, and some of these can be of reference to the case, to a local case, to a municipal case, to a national case. In terms of circularity for sustainability, the UNEP Circularity Platform has also been doing a lot of work and documentation, and in building direct connections with different SDGs, as we previously discussed, but also highlighting the key points that should be taken note of, like stakeholders are engaged throughout. There's a value retention in embracing the circularity challenges and into current economic models towards a sustainable future. So, and as you see, there are different frameworks that are now being crafted and deployed by different agencies at regional and national level. On the left, you can see the one from the European Parliament, demonstrating how circular economy can facilitate recycling, but design and production, manufacturing, distribution, and consumption, and how residual waste can then be put back into the system. Whereas on the other side, the UN agency has also demonstrated its sectoral implications of circular economy in different categories of reduce, reuse, recycle, and remanufacturing. So some kind of knowledge and guidance here for developing your own circular economy model at the city level, at the community level, And while some of circular economy discussions are clearly in addressing the SDG 6, responsible consumption and production, there are synergies between other emerging principles like nature-based solutions, like mapping how nature-based solutions, circular economy can together be an accelerator force for circularity, assisting sustainability. And so these are some of the emerging trends that I shared with you today, but we know that context-specific solutions and innovations should be put in place. There is no blueprint for that shows circularity will be helping in achieving sustainability in all the settings. So it has to be customized. It has to be made specific to a specific country and municipality or region. There are circular economy pathways that can provide guidance. However, integration process and policy making and advocacy and awareness in building community capacity and helping businesses on addressing gaps and fulfilling needs towards better operations would also need sectoral directives that are specific to the water sector, to the land sector, to the manufacturing sector. And barriers like lack of information, limited technical and human capacity, lack of data and knowledge are something that we know will inhibit circular economy towards sustainable growth. But with science, with technology innovations, with research, these gaps can be filled. So 5 key points as a take-home message that circularity does not make systems automatically sustainable. And this is very important to remember. It is only an accelerator tool to achieve sustainability if it is put in place systematically and fits that context. Sustainability assessments can help in the integration of circularity in different sectors to achieve sustainability. And mapping alignments as with different agendas can be a good trigger or a positive accelerator for this integration. For example, if you have to close loop in wastewater management, as we emphasized in World Water Development Report, WWAP 2017, there could be a lot of synergies between different agendas like wastewater management, sustainable water management, integrated water resource management, and wastewater use in industry, agriculture, and constructed wetlands. There are synergies with nature-based solutions, with green and blue infrastructure. So I think it is important that we don't reinvent the wheel, but we look for synergies. And we have been doing some work, and Cecilia will tell more about this in her talk on mapping circular economy pathways in the water and wastewater sector in the Latin American region. How over time, in the past 20 years, the countries have come up with a roadmap that supports circular economy and circularity as a whole. But specific objectives to sectoral support is yet to be seen. Some countries are more advanced than the others. Some have more focus on certain aspect like recycling than the others. So there's a bit of a divergence, but also a lot of synergies in different roadmaps of circularity. To discuss this, we also organized the UN Water Conference virtual side event not last month on accelerating circular economy-based solutions to support SDG 6 in the Latin American region, supported by the UN agencies, but also regional and national experts. We had experts from Uruguay, from Bolivia, from Chile. So I think that brought us some momentum in doing things together. And we also posted this agenda at the World Water Action Agenda and interface of the UN, where we will be working together with experts. And so please approach us if you have interest in this topic. We are following the discourse on how other multilateral and bilateral agreements are put in place to support this intersection, like the EU's partnership with Peru, cooperation for circular economy is one such recent agreement, the World Technology and Innovation Report 2023 is also mentions circularity in a very positive manner, giving us hope that circularity for sustainability can be achieved together and collectively. So with this, I will end my presentation, and for any questions, please send them by email. I'll be very happy to answer. Thank you.